If you're studying for your CompTIA Plus, you already know this isn't just about passing a test, right? You're building the Launchpad for your entire IT career. So today, we're going to zero in on the skills that separate someone who's just certified from someone who is truly career ready. Let's get this foundation built. Because, look, passing the exam, that's step one. But becoming that go-to, indispensable IT professional, that's the real goal. And to get there, you've got to master 3 pillars: protecting data when things go wrong, handling it responsibly every single day, and understanding the technology that's shaping its future. So, let's dive in. First up, let's talk about the skills that will literally make you a hero at work: data backup and recovery. Seriously, this is so much more than just a technical task. It's the safety net for the whole organization, and you're the one holding it. At its heart, data backup is pretty simple. You're just making copies of important data to protect it from everything. Hardware failures, file corruption, you name it. As a tech, this is your first line of defense when a user runs up to you in a panic saying, "I think I just deleted something really, really important." Now, for the exam, you won't just define this. You'll get questions that test if you can pick the right backup strategy for a specific situation. So knowing the different types is absolutely key. Okay, this table right here, this is gold. It breaks down the trade-offs, which is exactly what the A+ exam is going to test you on. A full backup is your baseline. It copies absolutely everything. It's super simple to restore from, but man, it takes a ton of time and storage space. Then you've got an incremental backup. This one's really efficient. It only grabs files that have changed since the last backup of any kind. But the catch? A restore can be a real pain because you need the last full backup plus every single incremental backup since then. And then there's differential, which is kind of the happy medium. It copies everything that's changed since the last full backup. A huge exam pitfall is mixing up incremental and differential. So just remember, differential always looks back to the last full one. That makes restores way easier. You only need 2 files to get the job done. So how do these backup types work together in a real strategy? Well, the grandfather-father-son scheme, or GFS, is a classic. You are almost guaranteed to see this on the exam. This rotation is just a brilliant way to balance how long you need to keep data with how much storage you have. You've got your daily incrementals, those are the sons. You've got your weekly fulls, the fathers, and your monthly fulls, the grandfathers. This tiered system just ensures you have recovery options for pretty much any scenario without needing a bottomless pit of storage. And here is a rule you need to commit to memory, not just for the exam, but for your entire career: the 3-2-1 rule. This is the gold standard for disaster recovery. It means you need at least 3 copies of your data on 2 different kinds of media, like, say, a local server and cloud storage, with one of those copies stored completely off-site. Because think about it, if a fire hits the server room, that off-site copy is the only thing that's going to save the company. So you've mastered making backups. Awesome. But what happens when you actually have to use one? On the job, you're going to choose between 2 main recovery methods. An in-place recovery is your go-to for simple fixes, like restoring one corrupted file right back where it belongs. But if an entire server crashes and burns, well then, you're doing an alternate location recovery, bringing all that data back to life on a brand new machine. Knowing which one to use is a critical, on-the-spot decision you'll have to make as a tech. And this is why getting backups down for the A+ is so important for your future. It's not just a small task. It's your entry point into a much bigger world. These exact same principles scale all the way up to enterprise-level disaster recovery, systems administration, and managing complex cloud setups in AWS or Azure. It's a foundational skill that's going to grow right along with your career. All right, let's switch gears a bit. Now we're talking about handling data. As soon as you become an IT technician, you are instantly a guardian of a company's most sensitive information. This next part is all about understanding that massive responsibility and knowing the rules of the road. Okay, first things first, you gotta know the lingo. The most important acronym here is PII, Personally Identifiable Information. This is any piece of data that can point back to a specific person. A name, an email, a social security number, you get the idea. For the A+ exam and for your actual job, protecting PII is always job number 1. The exam is also going to throw a couple of more specific data types at you. PHI is protected health information. That's all the medical stuff that's governed by HIPAA. Then there's PCI DSS, which is the big standard for handling credit card data. Here's a pro tip. The exam loves to connect these acronyms to their industries. So if you see the word hospital in a question, think PHI. If you see e-commerce, think PCI DSS. Getting this wrong in the real world isn't just a mistake, it can mean huge fines and a complete loss of trust. And check this out. This is exactly how they'll ask it on the test. They won't just ask for a definition, they'll give you a scenario. You're a tech at a hospital. What's your main compliance concern? You need to instantly connect hospital with PHI and know that HIPAA is the answer. It's all about applying the right rule to the right situation. Now, let's talk about incident response. A security breach happens, you're the first person on the scene. Your job is to preserve evidence. And the most critical concept here is the order of volatility. This just means you collect the most fragile temporary data first. At the very top of that list are the CPU cache, registers, and the system's RAM. Think of this stuff as the computer's short-term memory, its consciousness. The second you pull the plug, it's gone. Poof, forever. So you capture that data before you even think about touching the hard drive, where the data is much more permanent. The life of a piece of data isn't over until it's been securely destroyed. You can't just throw an old hard drive in the trash. You've got two main options on the job. Shredding is the brute force way. It literally grinds the drive into tiny pieces. It works on everything. Then you have degaussing, which uses a super powerful magnet to scramble the data. But here is the critical exam point you have to nail. Degaussing only works on magnetic media, like old school hard drives. It does absolutely nothing to an SSD. Using the wrong method isn't just an exam fail, it's a real-world data breach waiting to happen. And here's why this stuff matters for your career. Understanding data handling isn't just about A+. It is your direct on-ramp to cybersecurity, one of the fastest-growing fields in all of tech. Every single thing we just talked about, from PII to the order of volatility, is a foundational concept in security. If you master it now, you're already building the skills you'll need for your Security Plus cert down the road. Finally, let's look to the future, which, let's be honest, is already here. Artificial intelligence isn't sci-fi anymore. It's a tool that companies are using right now. The A+ exam knows this, and as a modern tech, you absolutely have to understand the basics. So what even is AI, at least for your A+ exam? Let's keep it really simple. It's using a computer to do tasks that a human would normally do. Things like recognizing speech, forecasting sales, or spotting weird patterns in network traffic. The exam isn't trying to make you an AI developer, but it will test you on its practical uses and, even more importantly, its limitations. The exam really loves to focus not on what AI can do, but on where it falls short. You need to know these three terms. First is bias. That's where an AI just repeats the flaws and prejudices from the data it was trained on. Second, hallucinations. This is when an AI just confidently makes stuff up that isn't true at all. And finally, accuracy, which is only as good as its training data. It's that classic IT rule. Garbage in, garbage out. As a tech, you might be the one trying to figure out why an AI tool is giving bizarre results, and these concepts will be your starting point. On the job, you're going to run into two main kinds of AI. You've got public AI, like ChatGPT or Gemini, which anyone can use and is trained on, the entire internet. Then you have private AI, which is an internal model built by a company and trained on its own private data. Knowing the difference is huge because pasting sensitive company secrets into a public AI is a massive security risk. So where do you, the technician, fit in? Well, your job is often to enforce the company's Acceptable Use Policy, or AUP. This is the rulebook for how employees can use technology, including AI. So when a user wants to paste a customer's entire case history into a public AI just to summarize it, the AUP is going to say absolutely not. And it might be your job to actually configure the systems to block that from happening in the first place. Okay, we have covered a ton of ground, from the nuts and bolts of backups all the way to the future of AI. So let's pull all this together into a simple blueprint you can use to succeed both on the exam and on day one of your new job. Here it is, your blueprint. First, master backups, so you can be that indispensable hero who saves the day. Second, handle data securely to become the trusted guardian of sensitive information. And third, understand AI basics to become the tech who's ready for whatever comes next. You see, these aren't just topics on an exam. They're the core of your new professional identity. Because mastering these concepts is about so much more than just passing a test. It's about building your confidence and gaining the real-world skills that will make you a fantastic IT professional from your very first day. You have the blueprint. The only question is, what are you going to build with it? Keep up the amazing work with your studies. You've totally got this.